What up, my fellow Knicks fans? This is your guy Marcellus Ease, and don't panic quite yet. Now, the Knicks finally got cooking in the second half of Game 2, and the points came from key places we did not expect. But when the Knicks are cooking, like the famous Kwame Brown, man, like he always says,
"Bitch, you can't touch mama's cooking."
Now, shout out to Fort Greene legend Taj Gibson. He was all over the place, and he helped the Knicks out-rebound the Hawks in this game, as he was relentless with Nerlens Noel dealing with that ankle sprain that he got. He only played 16 minutes. But Taj Gibson, I'm telling you, Tibbs squeezing out all them Marcus Camby, end of the road days, some Kurt Thomas type minutes out of Taj Gibson. And it was beautiful to see him getting his shine. It was great to see once again. But the key contributing point of this game, shout out to Derrick Rose, man. Derrick Rose was just doing all he could until Randle woke up in the second half. And the Knicks just offensively, we struggle in this game, man. And I don't know what's going on, but the Hawks are definitely game planning for Randle. But the Knicks were still able to take out John Collins out this game, especially in the first quarter with 2 quick fouls. John Collins averages 20 and 10 for the Hawks, man. Like, I don't know how the hell they're not even running plays for this guy. I know he rejected the extension with them, and they have ongoing issues, especially he beats with Trae Young early in the season. But taking him out of this game was key. Oh my God. But I still don't understand how come the Knicks didn't get it going in the first quarter, because Gallinari was guarding Julius Randle. And there was a point in the game, especially in the first quarter, they had Gallo, Brogdon, Trae Young all on the floor at the same time. So defensively, the Hawks were lacking, but they were still able to go on an 11-0 run. I mean, that was not good at all. And then what made it worse was that Nerlens Noel got 2 fouls with 6 minutes left in the first quarter. I mean, that was really bad. But offensively in the first quarter, we were just playing horrible, but we were only down 27-20 at the end of the first. And then Trae Young was going off, and I see a lot of the fan base, and particularly a lot of these analysts, they give Trae Young way too much credit because he was doing his thing, but they were only up by 7. And that's when I kind of knew we just needed a little spark from somewhere, and we were going to take over this game. Something just wasn't sitting right in my head.
Mama's cooking and spices is in my goddamn ear. It's like she done reached down and rubbed some cayenne pepper on the back of my ear. And just something ain't sitting right.
So once we jumped into the second quarter, John Collins, once again, a non-factor. He quickly got his 3rd foul of the game with 11 minutes left in that second quarter. So Capella once again checked in. So offensively, the Hawks didn't even have their best lineup on the floor. As we all know, Capella is a dud on the offensive end, but defensively, he does do his thing. But it's better for us, unlike game 1, to keep the Hawks defense on the floor. See, in game 1, they stuck with their offense on the floor, and that's how they were able to kill us in key situations. But even though they had their worst defensive lineup on the floor, in game 1, we were still unable to score. But once again, taking John Collins out was a big key factor in this game, and it allowed Gibson to be a nuisance on the rebounding end also. Now, the Hawks were over the foul limit with 8 minutes left in the second quarter, and the Knicks just really couldn't hold it down, especially with the starters, to take advantage of this. Now, the bench guys in the second quarter were killing it, man. Guys like Obi Toppin, just doing their thing. He didn't play that many minutes, but the minutes that he played was really big, hitting that 3-pointer, getting that alley hoop. Just the whole bench, this whole game was just a key contributor to this overall, just us coming back, just that whole aura, that whole vibe, the energy just shifted. And I'm glad that Tibbs stuck with this bench, especially in the second quarter and even in the fourth quarter or third quarter in the second half. Now, when Tibbs inserted the starters back into the lineup at the end of the second quarter with 5 minutes left, that's when we seen Trae Young started to go off, and the Knicks kind of fell down. Offensively, we just got stagnant again. And shout out to Tibbs for making major adjustments entering the third quarter as he started D Rose, and we started a 16-point turnaround leading with Reggie Bullock hitting those 3-pointers, and finally Randle started to wake up. But once again, in the fourth quarter, to start it off, Tibbs went with that bench lineup quickly. Obi Toppin, Taj Gibson. Like, the bench was just a spark, man. Burks, Alec Burks. And like I said in my preview before game 1, the Knicks and Tibbs should not be afraid to go to guys like Burks and Reggie Bullock, aka Bullseye Bullock. They've been going off all season in big key spots. They're not afraid of the big moment, and they might as well take their chances, especially with Randle struggling. Now the Knicks were able to go on a 9-0 run with 6 minutes left by that same bench, and that was very key. And I know a lot of the fan base asked themselves, like, okay, how come Frank Ntilikina wasn't in the game? You know, during the season, there was a game against the Hawks where Frank just completely shut down Trae Young, forced him to have a lot of turnovers. Once again, offensively, just remember we were struggling, and you know, just having Frank Ntilikina on the floor in this game just really wouldn't really contribute offensively, and it's something that we really needed at the moment. Now Randle, once again, the Hawks are kind of forcing him to the baseline. They're really game planning him, you know, especially when he gets the ball. He's kind of returning to his previous Laker days where he just held the ball a lot, didn't make quick decisions. And all season long, in his legendary, you know, most improved season, we've seen him make quick decisions with the ball, quickly, you know, become a playmaker. As soon as he gets it, he either takes a shot or he hits the guy open for, you know, a 3-pointer or a jump shot. But the Hawks are kind of forcing him to the baseline. But once again, I'm surprised Randle wasn't able to take advantage of Gallo guarding him in the first half. But, you know, just going into game 3, the Hawks are a good home team. And Gallinari, I don't expect him to keep missing these open 3-point shots. He's been horrible the first 2 games. He slightly had a better second half in game 2, but I expect him to at some point to cook up. And also Brogdon, he didn't have a good game 2, but we got to be careful. Both him and Gallinari are guys who could shoot over 40% from 3-point range. But once again, shout out to Derrick Rose, man. He was just cooking. He was just cooking all game long. Just, you saw it in his energy, man. This guy just needed a break, you know. Derrick Rose is not really at the age where he could do that, play 35 minutes a game and just go ham the whole time. But, you know, once again, we got big contributors from guys like Obi Toppin, man, not afraid of the big moment, stepping up, taking that 3. I mean, shout out to Taj Gibson, just yo, it was like almost a last ditch effort, man. Just trying to get key contributions from guys, man. Just the bench once again outscored the Hawks, man. The Knicks bench outscored the Hawks bench 55 points. Like, Jesus Christ. And Alec Burks, man, just in that fourth quarter, he was cooking, taking the ball to the rack, hitting the open threes, hitting jump shots. But once again, the Knicks in game 3, we're going to have to focus and get Randle cooking, man, much earlier, because I don't expect certain plays like Brogdon once again and Gallinari and John Collins to completely be a non-factor. And these guys are big contribution pieces to the Hawks. And once again, Trae Young, you know, a 5'11" point guard, you know, of course the league rules are in his favor, but Trae Young, he was cooking in this game, but just something just wasn't right with him scoring all these points and his team was barely up. And once again, you know, Trae Young talking spicy after game 1, and just, he got to understand, man, the Garden's already lit. We don't need that type of spicy talk. We already got too much seasoning in the Garden.
My mama cooking didn't say I needed that season, sir.
So it is what it is. Game 3, once again, the Knicks will be on the road, and we're definitely going to have to be more on our P's and Q's, as the Hawks all season have proven to be a good home team, and they defend their home court very nicely. So it is what it is. And then also, one more thing I wanted to touch base on was the Hawks offense without Trae Young on the floor. Once again, it was really bad in game 2, but I don't really expect them to play Trae Young for about 35 minutes in the game. That was pretty weird in the fourth quarter that they had Trae Young on the bench for so long, especially when the Hawks were kind of making a comeback, but then the Knicks bench went on a 9-0 run before all the starters checked back in. So it is what it is. Hopefully major adjustments are made. Hopefully Randle gets more comfortable in, you know, that playoff atmosphere and he can make quick decisions. Because, you know, playing Derrick Rose all these minutes, it's not going to really be sustainable. And RJ Barrett, hopefully he can, be more key contributor. I mean, he's still pretty efficient in game 2, but he could be more of a contributor in these games as a second scoring option that's pretty much more consistent. So it is what it is. You guys stay confident. Don't let this whole Trae Young hype train get to you, because this guy, we gotta force him to take the ball to the rack. He's not a good finisher taking the ball to the rack. He's definitely been dialed down a bit this season by Nate McMillan for, to stop taking all these half-court three-point shots. As we've seen in game 2, he kind of in the second half fell back in love with, being that Stephen Curry wannabe type player, and he's not as efficient. So us letting him take all these three-point shots, especially from, all the way far out from half court, let him do that. If he makes it, he makes it. But the odds are in our favor once he starts playing like that. So it is what it is. You guys stay safe. Until next time, enjoy game 3 and stay confident. Don't be like Stephen A. Smith, a shook ass Knicks fan. So it is what it is. You guys stay safe once again. Peace.